Good day, friends. How are you all doing this fine October 21st of 2020? This is Donald, Dr. Blast, coming to you again. What we have here is a 1965 Ford Mustang Fastback. This personally is my car, jointly owned with my longtime friend since we were children, Steve Clark. Steve and I have been working on this vehicle for the past few years, not so diligently, I must admit, because I have other things going on, other paying projects. This is a side indulgence, this is fun, this is a personal vehicle. Now, we found this car down in Katy, abandoned in a car storage facility outdoors. It was a complete car. It had all the parts on it, interior, and I think it had the motor in it. But the motor was full of water, rusted, junk. All the panels were bad. The last time this car was registered is 1982 in Texas, and it still had the original tag on it. But it was originally a Wimbledon white car with a red interior, with factory or dealer installed air conditioning. By virtue of me doing all the media blasting on all these vehicles, I know where they rust, I know where they rot, I know where they need to be fixed, where the panels need to be replaced, sometimes repaired on these vehicles. So I was very vocal about this to my friend Steve. I said, look, we have to do the whole thing. We have to go dive in deep and fix it, fix all the problems. And, he's a rookie in doing this kind of stuff. He's not as experienced as I am. So the roof has to come off, the quarters have to come off. We have to get full quarters, new roof. And he was trying to save it because, this part here was good. This part here was still looking good. But I said, that doesn't matter. It's all going to be replaced. Because underneath the roof, underneath the quarters, there's massive rot, as indicated by these holes here. And I'm turning the camera around. All this, I cut that out because that was all rotted. Same thing here, rotted out. Also up here in the A-pillar, this is just rotted, just garbage. This is one of the panels, or this is one of the pieces right there. Here's another one. You can't repair this. You can't really weld it because you're going to be burning holes and you're never going to repair it. So it's almost ready for its final media blast. I've media blasted this car, but I couldn't get all the internal areas like in the roof because all the parts were on it. And I was moving out of my old facility and I just wanted to get rid of all the blasting media that was in this hopper at that time. So I blasted this car then, and I got most of it done except for the rockers down there and of course the underlying structure because all the metal was still on it. So, this has all been blasted and it's in the primer, and I'll probably blast it again, put it in more primer. We put the new floor in, the new seat platforms, the new firewall. This piece, can't remember the proper name for it, that was good, so we didn't need to fool with that. Same way with this piece right here. The new floor comes with this part right here, but that part was good with the exception of maybe a couple little corners. Just we fixed that, no problem. Put these new torque boxes in, blasted the inside, of course. So this car is getting ready for its second and final blasting. I'm going to send it out to a guy, do the frames, and then when I get it back, I'm going to epoxy prime everything, make it real nice, really beautiful, do a good job. This is all rotted here. That one was okay. Here was junk. So these are a lot of work, folks. Rust is terrible. Rust is Rust is horrible. Rust increases your cost factor by a factor of 3, even 4 or 5, in terms of time, labor, which has a direct correlation, of course, as we all know, in terms of costs, what it's going to cost you or me. You know, I'm not doing this for any money. I'm just doing it out of my time. All week, I'm not making any money. I'm doing this. So, rust is terrible. Rust is horrendous. Rust is very expensive to fix. But here's something to ponder. Perhaps 10, 15 years ago, this car or cars like it, for example, my other Challenger back over there, when they were restored, the roofs were not removed. Every Challenger I know has got massive roof rot. So, those cars that were restored 15 years ago, maybe 20, are going to need another complete restoration, because damaged areas like here are still damaged on those cars. So you buy a car now that maybe was restored 15 years ago, guess what? You're going to have these problems unless you have proof in photos of this work being done, or had been done, or in the process of being done, like I'm doing right now. You have to have proof, documentation. Now, this car is going to be an exception because we're diving in deep and doing all the repairs. So it's going to be a good car. It's going to be really nice. And we've got the new full quarters, got the new roof, got the new trunk floor. You know, these pieces here, I had my buddy Steve make. You know, I'll weld that in the next day or two. You know, that one will go right here. But these cars are, the Fastback Mustangs are definitely worth fixing, worth putting the time in, because you won't be totally upside down in this kind of car. Some cars you will be, some cars you won't be. But any car you do is going to have massive amounts of rust, even up here under the cowl. I told Steve, I said, this cowl is going to be junk. He didn't want to believe me, and sure enough, pulled it off and it's garbage. It was just horrible. You know, this area here, I put this in today, welded that was rotted. So the water would go right through into the cabin. So that's fixed, that's new. Over here, I've prepared a piece on this side, which I'm going to repair tomorrow. This piece is going to go right in here. And this is where the first cowl goes onto, gets welded down, and then that cowl goes on it. But I'm not going to put that one on yet. And then this piece right here, this is the upper body panel, and this is the under package tray structure. You know, this is, I'm glad they make this, because ours was totally rotted on the underneath. You know, all this was just totally gone, totally rotted. And these are expensive pieces. Not everybody that restores Mustangs will dig deep and change this out, because it's going to be very expensive to do. It's going to be a lot of money to do that. Now, when I blast cars, I'm going to start really evaluating these areas and then discuss with the owner. I said, hey, you might want to just save your money and not have me blast this, because I can't get a 100% blast on this underside. I can get 65 to 75%, and that's it. That's it. That's as much as I can get. So if they make the part, if it's rusty and it needs to be repaired, it's going to be usually a decision call is going to be made in favor of changing out the part, putting in a new one. Mustang stuff is relatively cheap still compared to Mopar stuff. Now, another thing that I want you to know, you probably do know this, that the little remnants from the spot welds, those, if you don't get them off, they will change the dimensions of the newly installed metal, meaning you have to get it totally flat. And this will all be blasted. So in that new quarter, we'll go in here and lie down in here nicely on this buffer, This will all be put in new right there, all be blasted. It's going to be coming off. Now this wheelhouse may be still good. Some parts are probably going to be rotted and I'll have to change out, with pieces of another wheelhouse that I have back there, an old Mustang. I'll section it in as required. But this will be a good car. It's worth doing. 65 Ford Mustang. So I've done Evan's Mustang. That was a 66 K-code car. Earl's Coupe was a 66. Done like probably a half a dozen of these cars already, blasting, and then 3 or 4 with quite a bit of metal work on them. So I think the takeaway from this video, this 12-minute video almost, will be make sure it's totally prepped down to nothing. You have to dig deep. You really have to dig deep. You have to look for the problems, because if we didn't fix this, it's going to still haunt us with the new metal and the new paint. It's going to haunt you. It's going to haunt us. It's going to haunt you. But it won't, because I dug it out. It dug it out, blast it, put it in epoxy, and make the pieces to go in there, and then touch up, prime it. That's the plan. That will work. It'll be a very good plan. It'll work wonderfully. So that's it for today. My day is over. I'm going to go home and just chill out, study things that are more important than I. The affairs of the heart, I've learned, is the most important thing that we can do, and subjugating the ego. So I tell you right now, folks, I'll be very honest with you. I have tremendous problems with ego, not in an arrogant manner, but tremendous problems with ego, meaning ego wants certain things to be done in certain ways, and it always doesn't go that way. It's a battle, but it's a battle that I'm learning and I'm trying to become better at, and to become a better person. And I think this is one reason why I enjoy having females working for me, is because they don't have ego. They have heart. By nature, a woman has heart compared to us guys. We have ego. And I've had every guy that's come in here work with me, or even whom I've sent work to, they want to impress me. They want to tell me that they used to have a big shop. They used to do this. They used to have this tool. They're so skilled. Full stop. Fellas, I'm really not interested. I'm really not. I'm only interested in what you can do now. I'm not interested in your past. It doesn't matter for anybody. What matters is today and tomorrow. That is the key. And there's some people out there that know exactly what I'm talking about when I say today and tomorrow. Life is a struggle, but life is beautiful. It really is. Every day is a beautiful day. It's hard to live. It's hard to live, but I'm flawed. I make mistakes all the time, but I try not to make the same mistakes twice. It's tough. It really is. So that's my takeaway from all this. Every day I'm here. I rarely listen to music anymore. I never listen to Howard Stern anymore here. I'm always listening to some educational podcasts. And that doesn't mean I'm better than you or anything like that, but I'm just trying to share what I'm discovering in life. And you, if anybody that watches my channel often, you know that I'm very apolitical on my channel, this YouTube channel that you're watching. I never post anything, but last week, the Saturday morning at the Supreme Court steps, America's Doctors had and that's the name of their group, America's Doctors, had a press conference, and they were talking about this COVID-19 foolishness that we're all enduring and suffering through, and the masks, how it's having such a deleterious effect on our society. Now, 2 months ago, they did the same kind of briefing. It's been banned everywhere. Our YouTube and Google and all these Facebooks and all this kind of stuff, they edit this kind of stuff. The crimes of Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and the Obama administrations are beyond compare. Now, that doctor's briefing, I recorded the entire thing and I put it on my channel. Within 48 hours, YouTube pulled it, said I violated their terms of service, and it was my first infraction in 12 years on YouTube, because everything I put on YouTube is apolitical and it's always related to this kind of stuff or fun stuff that I'm doing, motorcycles or whatever. Whatever floats my boat, I'm going to put it on this channel. So YouTube yanked it because they said I was supporting and promoting information that disagrees with the WHO and the CDC, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a big problem in the world now, folks, and it's called too much big tech. I'll tell you right now, big tech is dead. They're going to die if they don't change. Section 230 of the Telecommunications Act of 1996, I remember when Bill Clinton passed it. It's a huge deal. It's a big deal, and we're still feeling it to this day. You have Google, you have Facebook, and YouTube is under Google. They are censoring anything that they don't like, okay? I get it. You can censor the pornography, and you can censor this and that. There's channels for that, okay? And there may be some merit in their arguments that, you know, YouTube doesn't promote this kind of stuff, but they promote the left-wing stuff. They promote the left-leaning anti-Trump kind of stuff. So there's tremendous bias, as many of you know. So I hope that this section is repealed and that big tech will become more neutral, like our valued press, the so-called fifth column in this country, has historically been. One that is looking for the truth, no matter which way it goes, regardless of the political bias or the political opinions. We don't have that now. We don't. It's getting really bad, and it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. So that is just an interesting thing. I did that. I put that on my YouTube channel, this channel, just to see what would happen. In 48 hours, they yanked it down. It didn't surprise me, but it sort of did surprise me. Okay, it really did. So I'm here talking about it after I did my car stuff. So I'm not sure if I'll change the language on this video to reflect views towards those political stuff, but I probably won't. Just maybe perhaps the few hundred people that eventually watch this video will see it and we'll go, okay, that sort of makes sense. That's kind of sensible talk, what I'm referring to. So that's about it. I'm going to call it a day. Thank you for the time of watching this. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the like button. I try to make a video or two every week based on a snapshot. I was going to say Snapchat, but a snapshot of my activities that I do here on a daily basis, geared towards my profession and helping you do better if you're going to undertake the same tasks. I guess that sort of makes sense. Motorcycles are included. My own personal cars are included, obviously. Tools and things that I do, and even people I meet and interactions I have. And such is life. Be good to everybody. Be happy. Be healthy. And look up to the light always. As the great Thoth said, look up to the light. Peace out, folks. Have a good day. Cheers.